Hey there, my name is Chris Mango, and I'm the creator of Mango Mischief, a satirical, retro-style JRPG that's available for PC on Steam. If you're watching this video, you're about to see me playing my own game, showing off shortcuts and going into detail about the development process and intentions with essentially every aspect of Mango Mischief. So I think it's fair to say spoiler alert. If you'd like to play my game before watching this, the Steam link is in the description. I hope you enjoy my playthrough and commentary. Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 2 of Mango Mischief, at least my walkthrough, run-through commentary. When last we left off, Sprig, Marion, Mero, and Arak had just joined forces to go find King Guffin. Before I forget, I'm going to save. I'm going to make a new save file. I'm going to try to make each episode a different save file for my own reference so I can keep track of what's going on. Lord and Lady Lute have a wonderful orchard in their backyard. Their mango trees are the envy of many. I'm going to be clicking on the NPCs that give me tutorials. I'll be skipping a bunch of NPCs and other dialogue opportunities, books, texts, notes, etc. Making dinner for the royal family can be extremely stressful, especially considering how mangoes are in such high demand and short supply. I would be happy to trade you for one. So we just received the tutorial and a side quest. The tutorial, which is the only tutorial not automatically completed, you'll complete it throughout the game, just gives you information on how to pick mangoes when you're looking to pick mangoes and give them to others. There is a row of mango trees located in the orchard in the Lute's backyard, which we'll end up going to pretty soon. And this first side quest here is labeled Mango 2. There is a Mango 1 side quest that's actually inside the Lute's backyard. And it's just listed here to give you some information on where the location is, where you should be going back to once you have a mango to give to someone. You can pick 3 mangoes at a time, and you can't pick any more until all 3 are gone from your inventory. But then once they are gone, you can head back and you can grab another set of 3 ripe mangoes. Over here, we have Daniel and Jason, named after my brothers, my wonderful brothers, who are arguing. Stoic. Slayer. Stoic. Slayer. What are you guys arguing about? Daniel thinks that the best way to gain technical points is to kill monsters. Yeah, because it is. Jason thinks that the best way to gain technical points is to take damage from monsters. Yeah, because it is. Out of all the different ways to gain technical points, I think the best is through healing. That is utterly ridiculous. Yeah, that's patently absurd. If you say so. So speaking to these individuals, we'll give you a tutorial about technical points. And how there are 6 different ways to gain technical points if you'll only access the skill menu and go to the TP mode. So here, we have skills, which will be a log of all the skills developed over time, learned over time, and the TP mode. The default TP mode is combatant. So anytime Marion, Arak, or Mero was dealing damage to an opponent, to an enemy, they would receive 10 TP as a result, like an in the moment reward. But there's other ways to gain TP also. And you can set different TP modes for different characters, whatever you're feeling for Sprig or Marion or Mero or Arak. Stoic, if I set Sprig to have the Stoic mode, then Sprig will receive 15 TP whenever Sprig takes a hit. For Team Player, Sprig would receive 5 TP anytime someone else, Marion, Mero, or Arak, on his team takes a hit. Nurse would be more in line for something like Arak. If you're healing a lot, you'd gain TP every time you heal someone. Tactician would be if you're inflicting a lot of debuffs or status ailments, which would be relevant more in line with Mero and Marion, although Sprig could also cast debuffs. And Slayer. Slayer is what I'm actually going to set everyone to. When I press page down and page up, I can scroll through pretty easily. I'm going to make sure everyone is going to be Slayer, because the way Slayer works is you gain 20 TP anytime an enemy dies, and you don't have to do the final blow. So Arak having the Slayer mode will allow Arak to gain 20 TP, even if Sprig or Marion or Mero deal the final blow. There's other doors here. I'd recommend you talk to them. Talk to everything you can. Antidote obtained. My brother recently moved to Old Providence Town. He said something about searching for treasure in the caves underground. He probably wrote about it in his diary. He's quite frightened of monsters, though, so I'm sure he'd run at the first sight of anything dangerous, especially bats. We're going to learn all about her brother throughout the game. If you ever need a small boost in HP, MP, or TP, consider defending. Defending in battle will also reduce damage that you take from enemies, although obviously you won't be attacking and dealing damage while you're on defense. You've completed a tutorial for your journal. This tutorial is guarding. I wanted to make guarding actually useful. I know a lot of games have the ability to guard, but a lot of times it's not really that useful. A lot of times you just prefer just attacking. So I wanted to throw in as many incentives as possible to consider guarding. You'll regain HP, MP, you'll gain 5 TP no matter what. I think you also take 50% damage, and you'll also, I think, reduce the chance of receiving any status ailment, like poison or paralysis or charm, by 50% as well. So there's a lot of reasons why you might want to consider guarding once or twice. Maybe you just need to regain a little bit more MP to use another skill, or maybe you're really close to filling up your TP gauge, or whether you're just maybe just versing an enemy that does a lot of damage or a lot of status ailments. Brace obtained. This will heal paralysis during battle. All status ailments disappear between battles, so you don't have to worry about using those types of items. There's a bunch of books here, and there are 2 individuals reading. They'll be referenced in a moment, especially the blonde-haired woman. We will talk to the blonde-haired woman in just a moment. But first, we're going to attempt to head east. Let's head east towards Pitha to search for the king. So we'd love to go east, because that's where we heard King Guthrum is headed, or last seen. But unfortunately, the bridge is out. There's actually 8 broken parts of the bridge to represent the 8 different boulders that we're going to knock down, which you'll learn about right here as we talk to Marigan, which is an anagram for anagram because she speaks in anagrams. Unfortunately, the bridge has a large hole. We cannot cross until it has been filled. And most of my playtesters were able to read this just fine, but the very next word gave them some trouble. The word reblub. It is not blubber. It is rubble from 8 boulders should be enough. Am I the only one who has no idea what she's saying? Thank you for the information. You're very welcome. Okay, seriously, what is going on here? This all just sounds like mumbo jumbo. Mumbo jumbo? Who is mumbo jumbo? Shout out to Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. Not who. Marion, don't worry. This is Marion. Her mother was a patient of mine long ago. I learned to speak their language by working with them for years. Whoa, what'd she say? If we want to cross the bridge, we'll need to repair it by filling the holes with rubble. Where do we find rubble? We'll need to break apart some boulders. I see a bunch of gray boulders around here, and I'm sure that finding some tools to break them can't be that hard. After all, there are tons of weapons in shops and houses, right? Unfortunately, it looks like these boulders are enchanted by a special magic, so ordinary chisels and axes won't have any effect on those rocks. That's remarkably inconvenient for us. The Hex Hammer. The what? Legend has it that the Hex Hammer is a large mystical weapon that is designed to break apart magical objects, like enchanted boulders. Let's head back to the castle. There are some knights who might know where we can find the legendary Hex Hammer. 2 of the king's guards are always reading stories in the castle west wing. We should speak to them about this hammer. We'll look high and low for what we need until we find it. Good thing you're here to guide us, Sprig. Say, Sprig, I was wondering, how long have you been a guard for? You know, with you going around and being a rescuer and all that. I have pledged my loyalty to Hargoth, its people, and the royal family. My age is of no consequence. Although, spoiler alert, the age will be of severe consequence at the end of the game. Alright, let's get moving. A new main quest has been added to your journal. And so, just in case you skim through the dialogue or don't really pay attention or miss it, the Hex Hammer information is located here saying, Sprig suggests that they visit the castle west wing to see if any knights can offer assistance. But of course first, you can speak to animals, and so why not talk to the horse? Look at how majestic I am. I guess you could say that being impressive is my horsepower. If I have an opportunity for a pun, I'll often take it. Or, there'll be a situation like this. My humans named me Snowball, and they showed me so much love when we were all together. It's been years since they passed away, but I still think about them every day. Snowball was my first dog ever, or my family's first dog ever. Yellow Lab, who passed away quite a while ago, but it's my game, and if I want to put in my old dog, I can do that. We'll go back here and now talk to the blonde woman. It switches her dialogue to actually be being relevant and helpful now. Since we talked to Marigun, now this blonde woman will say something different and useful. I'm learning all about different myths and monsters. Wow, anything about big baddies here in Hargoth? I haven't gotten to that chapter yet, but there's a story about a creature south of here in Old Providence Town. Or more specifically, under the ground of Old Providence Town. The basement cave will be in Old Providence Town, not in the castle. That's where we'll be going soon. I'm sure that monster's not so scary. Legend has it that the underground monster has 4 huge arms and dangerous weapons, like a toxic dagger and a magical hammer. A magical hammer? According to the story, yeah. This monster's magical hammer is evidently stronger than ordinary hammers. That hammer must be the hex hammer we're looking for. So if we find this monster underneath Old Providence Town, then we'll find the hex hammer too. Are you sure you want to fight this thing? We may have to fight that monster if it's the only way to obtain the hex hammer and rebuild the bridge. Well, the monster's name is Flesher, and apparently it has a devastating attack when it becomes angry. When Flesher's HP is reduced to below 25%, like the last quarter of its health before it dies, it changes its attack from a more basic, straightforward attack to something called Four-Armed Desperation, where it really wallops you 4 times in a row, kind of like Marion's devastation attack. So usually when I play against Flesher, unless I'm like super leveled up, usually I'll whittle down the amount of HP it has to like 30%, and then after Flesher takes its normal turn, I'll try to kind of unleash really, really strong attacks all at once through Marion and Merrow and Arak and Sprig, and hopefully I can kill off the monster before Flesher gets to attack again, which would be this Four-Armed Desperation attack. It's also surrounded by monsters who can poison, paralyze, blind, and even charm you, so please be careful. These are the 4 different status ailments that you might encounter inside the underground basement cave of Old Providence Town. Thank you for the information. A new update to a main quest has been added to your journal. So basically this is saying, hey, you should probably start heading to Old Providence Town. However, we need to talk to a few more individuals in Hargoth City, in Hargoth Kingdom. I'm not going to talk to everyone because it'll take a long time, and a lot of the conversations are a little redundant because I wanted to make sure that multiple NPCs can give you the same tutorial in case you miss an NPC. You won't, never get access to a tutorial. The Kingdom of Hargoth is bustling and hustling, and the townspeople talk without any tussling. They'll speak of essentials and give you a tip as you start on your thrilling adventurous trip. The castle is vast, with helpful residents too, and the royal family is tried and true. King Guffin, Queen Mac, Princess Sarah, Prince Ren, all wish to bring happiness, prosperity, and zen. Speak to everyone and learn the tutorials, as these will prove to be useful memorials. Enter the homes and open the chests to better prepare you for all of your tests. Throughout your journey, you should speak with everyone you meet. You never know what you might learn, especially from the townsfolk here. For example, did you know that leveling up your classes can yield various rewards, as well as unlock new tiers of classes? You're welcome. We'll look through these tutorials in a little bit, but I'm just going to go through and gather some tutorials, as well as open up some chests that are located in the 4 corners of this town, as well as inside some of the houses. Right now I'm just a Dark Apprentice, but when I go stronger, I'll either become an Elementalist or a Dark Adept. So this is related to Merrow, the Dark Apprentice. Elementalists focus on fire, water, earth, wind, ice, and thunder, while Dark Adepts focus on dark, light, and physical attacks. In fact, if you talk to each person on the west side here, I'm going to skim through this. That's the Light Apprentice for Arak, because I'll show you what the tutorials discuss in a moment. Rascals is going to be for Marion. There are obviously plenty of dogs to talk to. I'll skip this person for now. And then down here at the bottom left, this person gives you Sprig's tutorials, because it's talking about recruits. This is a pretty unique NPC. It doesn't give you a tutorial. It just brings up an potentially annoying trope found in a bunch of RPGs. What are you doing by the pond? When I'm not playing fishing minigames, I like to hang out here and think about playing fishing minigames. Fishing minigames? Yes, the video games I play all seem to have fishing simulators that are completely irrelevant to the actual plots of the games. And the fishing is always the best part. Why don't you just actually go fishing? Why waste my time fishing when I could be playing fishing minigames? Which games do you play that have fishing as a minigame? All of them. Okay then. Here's an inn. This wonderful person over here gives you 2 items. I found this while cleaning one of our rooms. You can have it. Muleta obtained. Thank you. Let's talk to you again. Or him again. I don't know. I found this other item too. Disorienting shrub obtained. Wow, thanks. I wish I could communicate with animals. I wonder what would they tell me. Well, doesn't hurt to talk to them. Welcome to the Hargoth Inn. By all means, stay the night for free. You can stay at the inns for free, which is useful because right now I don't have any gold anyway. But I didn't see a real reason to force the player to use up any of their currency. Dampener obtained. Now, some of these houses up here are for Sprig, for Marion, for Marrow, and for Arak, in case you didn't get the tutorials. I'll just talk to the cats, though. My name is Simba. I'm king of this house. No one else knows it, though. What do you think this cat's name is going to be? My name is Nala. Lion King references. I'm queen of this house. No one else knows it, though. So you can speak to more NPCs here and get even more information on the different characters, what they'll be learning, etc. But it also doesn't hurt to just double-check every single house to see if there's any chests in there. Here's an armory. The weapons and the armor and accessories are identical between the Hargoth Armory and the Old Providence Town Armory. And since I'm going to go to Old Providence Town anyway, I don't really need to spend any time in this armory. My name is Gambit, which is the name of my cat. I'm Humphrey's twin. My name is Humphrey. I'm Gambit's twin. Humphrey is the name of my wife's cat who passed away several years ago. Cheesy joke incoming. Want to know what my favorite candy bar is? Kit Kat bars. You're allowed to groan. The game sometimes groans too with certain situations. Just kidding, those would kill me. Meow. So we're going to go back up here. Talk to a few more people outside and inside. The 4 tiers of classes are Novice, Proficient, Advanced, and Master in that order. All classes must be completed in a tier before the next tier is unlocked. Magic obtained. That'll heal some magic points, MP. Let's head back down here. Each hero's journey begins with a Novice class. Recruit, Rascal, Light Apprentice, Dark Apprentice. This is Sprig, Marion, Arak, and Marrow. Perseverance and experience can lead these novices to greatness once level 10 is reached and the hero decides to switch to a more advanced class. So once you hit level 10 with your original class, 2 more classes will become available for each character. Mini Tonic obtained. There's another row of houses down here that we'll skim through. Just want to give a couple more tutorials. Some attacks are purely physical and don't have any magical properties. Of course, that doesn't mean that enemies can't be strong or weak against those too. Some enemies have high physical defense, but low magic defense, or vice versa. That book would be useful, especially if you've beaten the game before. Little Easter egg there. These monsters have a specific elemental affinity. Some may even have more than one. Some information on the elements. Spellbound Cane obtained. So I'm going to give Arak the other Spellbound Cane, as well as the other shield I picked up with Marrow way back in Mortal Magma Mountain. Can we talk to this person? There are 6 different ways to earn technical points. This would have been another way to unlock the TP mode tutorial, if we didn't already get it. Fire and water, earth and wind, ice and thunder, light and dark. Those are the 8 different elements. Yes. Learn when it is best to use each one. Learn when it is worst to use each one. But water and ice are the same thing. One is just colder than the other. Plus, water is a molecule, not an element. And don't even get me started on the fact that darkness is simply the absence of light, not its own element. Does anyone have a periodic table? My mother does. She was a chemistry teacher. She was my chemistry teacher back in high school. Look, these 8 magic types are way more appealing than saying helium is strong against hydrogen. Just go with it. I'm not understanding how thunder is supposed to be its own magic type too. Maybe lightning or electricity? And what is so magical about earth, wind, and fire? Well, they have some pretty catchy songs. A reference to the band. Anyway, at least we learned something. Yeah, that some people failed chemistry. You can get into this back door if you go up to the top left and either click or hold down. I'm not going to talk to these chickens. You may want to. They'll mean something, especially after you've beaten the game and you go back and see what they have to say, or if you start a new file. This item shop will be useful. later on in the game. Please don't touch that calculator. I mean, I'm a math teacher, so I have to have a calculator in the game, right? It's a very interesting and enlightened item that's simply not for sale. Thank you. We'll get there in a little bit. 2 more houses. In many cases, debuffing my enemies ends up being more effective in battles than only dealing direct damage. I can often finish a battle faster or weaken a particularly deadly opponent with the right debuffs. Being able to lower an enemy's battle stats should not be underestimated. In fact, up here, this individual talks about the virtues of buffing your party, and how that might be helpful too. One final chest here. Luck potion obtained. You may occasionally find yourself temporarily outmatched in battle, needing to catch your breath while your allies go on the offensive. Guarding yourself with a defensive posture will help reduce any damage you take and the chance of receiving status ailments, and it restores a percentage of HP and MP. You'll gain some TP for that stance too. Again, talking about the guard tutorial. So I didn't want to make the NPC conversations completely irrelevant or skippable. I don't mind the universe revolving around the characters and these journeys here. Here we've got the pink and purple Zoofers. They hit a little bit harder, and obviously they have 100 HP, and there's 2 of them. So if it was one of our characters against those 2, it would be a pretty hard match. But now that it's 4 on 2, it becomes pretty easy. You can see here, since I have the Slayer TP modes activated, you'll see that when this Zoofer dies, everyone here will gain 20 TP. I mean, Iraq is maxed, but you can see this jump to 40, to 80, and to 70 in the next hit. Cool. So it's a pretty easy way to level up your TP if the battles are going to be pretty fast. I guess I might as well just attack the 3 green zuppies here. Sprig's party gained the upper hand. That means we actually get to attack first, no matter what. And some get an extra attack. Sprig's speed is pretty slow right now because it's a lower level, but notice how some of these characters get to attack more than once. So we didn't even get attacked at all. Full TP now. That's why I was okay with attacking again. You can obviously grind a little bit here if you want to, but it's not really necessary. Where to next? We're going to actually get some mangoes. I actually want to backtrack a little bit and complete the mango quest in Hargoth Castle before I forget, because that will give a weapon to Sprig. It'll give him a falchion, just so he's got a nice weapon before we even go into the basement cave. The way I'm going to be playing this game, at least at the beginning, is to pretty much be as strong as possible to show you all different shortcuts and strategies that you might not have considered if you've already played this game. Like, oh, I could have done that in advance to make my life a little bit easier. Those sort of quality of life improvements are things I'm going to be showing you. So here's a new person. I can't reach the mangoes on these trees. Can you please pick one for me? A new side quest has been added. This would be Mango 1. There's a mango request in the Luke's backyard, and of course in Hargoth Castle's kitchen. The first 3 trees here will say Mango Obtained, and you'll actually be able to pick 3 mangoes. The mangoes will appear in your key items, as will other items throughout the game. Why is everyone so obsessed with mangoes? Once we use all 3 of these, then the next set of trees will allow us to pick mangoes. Right now it says the mangoes on this tree aren't ripe yet. I should check a different tree for now, and come back later for a mango from this particular tree. If you try to pick a mango from a tree you've already pulled from, it'll say, I've already picked a mango from this tree. No need to get greedy. So let's give her a mango. Here's a mango for you, thank you so much. 100 gold. So we can actually get gold before we go fight some basement monsters, which we're getting closer to. I'm sure plenty of other people would also love a mango, so make sure you return to pick more whenever you run out. Now, even though we're down to 2 mangoes, you cannot pick a 4th one. You can't replenish back up to 3 until you've used all 3 mangoes that you currently bought. This will be easier to run back and forth from once this boulder gets opened up, or once the boulder gets removed, once the path gets opened up, so you don't have to worry about random encounters, because you can hit random encounters over here, but not on the left side of this map. I'm going to do a quick run back through the forest, just to show you just how decked out my party can be even before fighting any monsters in the basement cave. The basement cave does have a good amount of drops. You can obviously get rewards, loot, gold. You can even get some weapons from the monsters that you'll kill in the basement cave, which is the way most people would end up playing through. But I'm going to show you just how stacked I can be ahead of time with different weapons. The items I've been collecting, which are good for like casting status ailments or curing status ailments. I'm probably going to be selling. I'm probably going to be selling almost all of them, so I get enough gold for some specifically good accessories. Making dinner for the royal family can be extremely stressful, especially considering how mangoes are in such high demand and short supply. I would be happy to trade you for one. Here's a gift for you. You'll automatically give a mango if you have one. Wow, this is great. Here, let me give you this. Falchion obtained. I'm sure plenty of other people would love a mango too. Falchion, a basic weapon that can be used by Sprig and Arak. This weapon makes the user immune to poison, which is pretty good considering poison is one of the status ailments that appears in the basement cave of Old Providence Town. Let's head back now. We're going to finally get to Old Providence Town. We're going to finally make some progress. Some initial progress with the main quest. You don't have to do the mangoes before you do the basement cave. I'd imagine most people won't. But you do get rewards that scale up over time. Let's just get some experience. It wouldn't hurt to be a little bit stronger. And I'll make short work of these characters. We're leveling up pretty well, levels 4 and 5. By the time you're level 5, we're definitely strong enough to take on the basement monsters. And really, I'm not seeking out battles. I'm not going out of my way to kind of grind levels or anything. I'm just quickly beating anyone who decides to challenge me at this point. So, not that I wouldn't necessarily use the word overlevel, but it'll certainly make your life easier if you go into the basement level with levels like 5 and 6. Another thing I want to do, and actually I can do it right now with the armory. Okay, let's get the quest started. Okay, I know what I need to do in terms of the order I want to do this in. There's a diary here. Let's talk to the diary, because there was a reference to a brother's diary earlier. Look at the most recent entry of this diary. Today I dug up a mysterious box, but it seems to be locked with a 6-digit number code. Every time I guess the code wrong, the box shocks me. Perhaps it contains enough treasure to make me a wealthy nobleman. I would love to be called Count Ventanas. Now, how the heck do I open that box? Who's Ventanas? Obviously, if you speak Spanish, there's a helpful reference here. Ventanas is Spanish. Well, it's Spanish for windows. You'll see that there's a reference to windows in a moment. Not that you need to know Spanish to solve this upcoming puzzle. And this is my house and my cave. I spent weeks digging down here, so don't think even for a second, key word here, you'll see about that in a moment, even for a second about stealing my stuff. If you want to enter and explore my cave, then you'd better find a way to make yourselves useful. Hey, what do you think you're doing? Try to click on the chest. Get away from that chest unless you know how to unlock it. That chest requires a special code, and I know that the order of the numbers is based on the 6 houses of Old Providence Town and the individuals who reside in each of the 6 houses. But I still can't figure out which number should be chosen first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth. And you need to be careful because choosing the wrong order will seriously hurt you. If you pick incorrect numbers, the chest will shock all of you. My name is Ventanas, by the way. Nice to meet you. Yeah, figure out the chest code and then maybe I'll be your friend. A new update to a main quest has been added. You'll see we get a lot of those updates. By the way, you don't have to do this entire puzzle sequence if you know the order already. You can literally just plug in the correct numbers without going through each house in Old Providence Town and getting more and more main quest information. So it'll say, we appreciate the warning, and then do you want to try to crack the code? I'm going to say no for now, just so I'm going to show you the way to do it. But here, this one window house had Ventana saying the word second, And you'll notice that each of the other places have a different number of windows. 1 window, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so some of the main quest additions we just got was the basement chest code. When we tried clicking the chest, we got this information, how we're trying to rearrange the numbers 1 through 6, but we just don't know the order of 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then 6th. But in the 1-window cabin where Ventanas was, he also warns the party not to steal the stuff, and that we shouldn't think about it even for a second. And so the dialogue in each of these 6 houses, or 6 buildings, will give away the words 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th, and you'll match it with how many houses, with how many windows are in each house. Whether you realize that based on the fact that the journal says the 1-window cabin, and that 1 is corresponding with 2nd, or whether you get the reference of how Count Ventanas is kind of like Count Windows. Or this individual, if you speak Italian, you are now speaking with Finestra, Italian for window. You are now done speaking with Finestra. Where'd that strange man go? Let's go through the other houses really quickly. Can a fellow drink in peace? It's a reference to Farnham the Drunk from Diablo 1. Hey. Welcome to the Old Providence town. I don't really want to buy any items, but I can if I want to. Thanks for stopping by. Come back soon. Who is that hiccuping man? Oh, that's just Handfrom, an anagram for Farnham. Don't mind him. Here's another dialogue which will give us the main quest update for this house, or this building. All right, I picked up our food, drinks, medicine, toiletries, and ran the rest of our errands for the week. We're all good to go home now, right? Absolutely. Great. Where's Kara? Music stops. This doesn't look good. Where's our child? This is the third. Third. This is the 3rd time you've lost her this month. Maybe you should stop eavesdropping. So the number that's 3rd is 3, because there's 3 windows here. We can go to the 2-window house now. I promise I don't only care about myself. I care deeply for my humans. They are, after all, my servants. I enjoy long walks on the beach, playing fetch, and occasionally looking at my own reflection. My life just might be a little delusional. I had a dream last night that the king was in some sort of danger. I have a 6th sense about these kinds of things. I had recently spoken to my LGBTQ plus friends about ways that video games can be more inclusive. I asked how could I do something like that if like my main characters aren't all having like relationships and anything of that nature. And they said that it doesn't have to be the main hero being lesbian or trans or bi or anything of that nature, but just kind of using more normalizing dialogue, like speaking to a woman and just casually mentioning my wife as opposed to, or like my spouse or my husband, depending on sex or gender, is just one way to kind of ease the conversation a little bit more. Like how at the end of the last episode, we saw that Hartania's preferred pronouns were they and them, and how that decision for me to change saying he or she and using like they doesn't change our understanding of the dialogue at all in any sort of way that affects us. We can't understand what to do in the game because this person identifies as non-binary. It's just kind of normalizing the language, which seems to be helpful. And so they said that this was something that might be something I could put in there. So I figured, why not? It doesn't hurt, and we could use a little bit more awareness there. The inn. 4 windows on the inn. This person is going crazy. Dusting and cleaning and maintaining this inn is so tiresome. People often leave things behind at inns. So if you ever see workers running around and cleaning, try to catch them and speak with them. And they just might give you an item or 2. So while this person doesn't give us an item, we did get 2 items from the Hargoth Inn. And as far as leaving things behind, well, here's the girl. This is the 5th time my family has stayed at this inn. 5th. We love it here. Hey, where did my dad go? Yeah, well, he's at the shop right now. And if you ever want to take a rest at the Old Providence Town Inn, you can for free. We don't get many strangers around here, so I insist you stay the night, free of charge. Not sure how they keep the lights on, but they do. Good morning. You look well rested. Come back anytime. Sure. where else can we go? We have 2 more buildings to access. This is 6 windows, and this is the armory. I am not the druid you were looking for. In fact, a Star Wars reference. But there's a house in this town that is notorious for breaking the 4th wall. I don't understand why they don't just use stronger building materials. So a reference to 4th walls, a play on words of 4th wall, and the word 4th. Now, the person on the left here is the armorer who offers weapons. You can buy weapons, but I won't need to buy any weapons from here at all, because I'm going to make sure all of my characters have a good weapon to start with. Welcome to the Old Providence Town Armory. You can buy armor and accessories here. You can buy shields, you can buy some armor. You can obviously buy a lot stronger versions of these and other types of equipable gear later on. But there's an emphasis here on the mini amulets. The mini amulets do a good job of buffing a specific stat. We're going to go hard on the HP mini amulet as far as choosing one of the mini amulets is concerned, but I want to finish the getting all the main quests, this 5-window house here, because there are a couple more items I need to get from this individual here, because I need to sell a lot of items, which will get me enough gold to buy HP mini amulets for all 4 characters. Well, 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 what have we here? Let's see. 4 people, diverse backgrounds, different specialties. You must be a party of adventurers. Here, take these. I think you'll find them useful. Mini tonic, antidote, brace, and eye drops obtained. So they're all very useful to use in battle, where you can use a mini tonic or mini magic outside of battle. But they're also good for selling and being able to buy other things. If you talk to them again, I've achieved many dreams of mine, but being able to go on a magical quest is my final fantasy. Let's go into talking to the first guy. Welcome to the meta-reference mansion, and this mansion will be relevant throughout the game. At first glance, this house may seem odd. At first glance, this house may seem odd, but as your journey continues, you'll come to realize that this house isn't just odd, it's really, really odd. As you progress through your journey, be sure to stop by and check in every once in a while. You never know who'll be willing to start talking to you. Now this piano... Oh, you've completed a tutorial for your journal. That's the meta-reference mansion tutorial. Meta-reference mansion. Oops. This just gives you some information. Also, I thought it'd be really interesting and a good, I guess, task or challenge on my part to write quite a bit where every word has M, and then A, and then N, and then G, and then O, because why not? And these are things you can check out in the future when you play the game, or in the past if you've already played the game. These other tutorials, like the different classes, the class tree, the class skills, and everything related to these, I've done walkthroughs of these in other videos. So if you want to look into more depth about the different classes that they'll unlock and the different skills they'll obtain, I'd recommend looking at some other videos. The one thing, actually the 2 things I do want to point out are if you ever need info on the battle stats, specifically the fact that agility decides turn order and luck decides your critical hit percentage. You have everything in battle stats here. The other thing is the 4 class tiers. Tier 1, the novice, is the one class we currently have unlocked with everyone. But once you hit level 10, you'll have an opportunity to join or to switch to 2 additional classes. That's your proficient tier. Now you need to complete both proficient tier classes, level 10 for both, before you can unlock the 4 advanced classes. And then once all 4 of those are unlocked, then you'll have access to the 8 master classes. If you scroll down, you can see when you learn skills for each of the classes. So for example, the proficient tier classes and the advanced tier classes learn a total of 4 new skills for each class at levels 2, 4, 7, and 10. So if you look at any class that's proficient tier or advanced tier, you can figure out, based on the class tree and classes and skills tutorials, which skills you're learning and when you're learning them. So for example, if you go to Sprig's classes and skills, here are proficient tier classes and skills and advanced tier classes and skills. And the order in which you, I guess, walk through or level up the soldier versus warrior, you can decide which one you want to do first. If you want to get Bash before marching orders, go for it. Get Bash before marching orders. You can switch at any time. You don't have to do level 1 through 10 with Warrior, and then 1 through 10 with Soldier. You could do level 2, get Bash, and then level 2, get marching orders, and then level 4, get Double Swim, and then level 4, get Clarity. You can go back and forth, whatever you want. And you can do the same thing with the advanced tier classes and skills as well. Maybe some of these skills sound really cool. Or maybe you want a fire attack and you have the sneaking suspicion that Righteous Flames is a fire attack. I purposely avoided giving descriptions of every single one of these in advance, although obviously when you unlock the skill, you'll see what it does, and you'll be told in the skill tab exactly what each skill does as you scroll through. You can do page up and page down to switch between characters pretty easily here. So if you're wondering, what Snake Eyes does, it decreases the luck of one enemy. Okay, this piano will be playable. It's the only playable piano in the game. It will be playable later on. You'll be able to play certain songs on there to bring you back certain cutscenes. These four are not willing to talk to you yet, but as you progress through the game, there will be certain significant situations that will unlock these NPCs' dialogues. I'm just preparing some food while I wait for a silent boy with memory loss who likely comes from a destroyed village to meet up with me, a secret princess. He probably overslept or something. We'll either be love interests or I'll end up sacrificing myself to turn into a powerful inanimate object. I'm sure that boy and his childhood friend and some random non-human companion will all come find me any day now. Anyways, the food here is great, although the kitchen is missing the most coveted item in all the land. Goes, it would be amazing if I could find an absolutely perfect mango. It would be amazing if we had one, wouldn't it? We have one for you. Wow, this is fantastic. Here, let me give you this. Rusty knife obtained. I'm sure plenty of other people would love a mango too. So Mango 3, which didn't even need to appear in our side quest, is completed. Open and shut case there. And so we're out of mangoes, so we can go back and get some more. We'll do that in the next episode once we can start breaking down some boulders to make the path back to the Loot's Orchard a little bit easier. But if we check out our journal, we now are done with 3 mango quests: Loot's Backyard, Argoth Castle Kitchen, and Meta-Reference Mansion. The item I just got is a weapon that Marion and Marrow can use, but Marion's already got her Spellbound Cane. A few other things here. Talk to some doors. Do you always assume that you can simply walk into a stranger's room? You don't need to go to the bathroom ever. All RPG characters learn bladder control at level 0. One should never venture out into the wild by oneself. After all, it's dangerous to go alone. So clearly there's a lot of meta references in this mansion. Even NPCs need some privacy every now and then. So I think we've exhausted everything. I still need to get some good accessories. Now that I've received those, I think I have every single item in every single chest and from every single NPC that I can get this far. So, we're going to sell everything. Just going to sell everything. Obviously, these items can be very, very useful. But at the same time, the item drop rate in battles is purposely high. So you can keep using items without worrying about running out. And so that means you can also sell them from time to time. If I go to buy, I have 260 gold. I think that's the most I can have at this point in time. So I'm going to start by buying 4 mini amulets. That way, each of my characters can have 1,000 extra HP. This pretty much makes the basement cave a joke. As I battle through some monsters and kind of breeze through the 3 levels, which I'll do in just a moment, to keep an eye on my HP and just think about how close some of these battles would be if I didn't have a free 1,000 HP with each character. I have 60 HP left over, so I guess I could buy some sort of armor. This does physical defense and magic defense plus 5 each, or it'll be plus 5 for the physical, or it'll be plus 5 for the magic. So let's do plus 5 for the physical, and just give it to Sprig. Then I can give a shield. Doesn't really matter which one, because in general, I like to have half the enemies doing physical attacks and half the enemies doing magic attacks. Let's just have it be a kite shield. So I'm going to deck out Sprig. Optimize, boom. And what else? If I scroll through, if I press page down, I can continue scrolling through and just doing optimize to make sure they get a mini amulet. So everyone here got plus 1000 HP. So instead of having 300, they have 1300. Makes the early game very easy. But again, it's more of you're unlikely to figure this out during your first playthrough. Maybe we realize it later on, or maybe we realize it but from watching my walkthrough and commentary. I'm going to save right now, just because I haven't saved in a while. And now let's just take care of the chests. Everything's here in the journal. Again, another useful thing to have, a journal, which keeps a log of all this information. That way you don't have to write it down on paper. So the number 1 is second, the number 2 is sixth, the number 3 is third, the number 4 is fifth, the number 5 is first, and the number 6 is fourth. I happen to have it memorized, obviously, although it'd be super embarrassing if I got it wrong, which could very well happen because I'm thinking about what I'm saying as I'm saying things and thinking about what I'm doing next and clicking all over the place and moving pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure that yep. Ouch. The entire party takes 100 damage. So this would happen if you get it wrong. And if you only have 300 HP and you take 100 damage, that's a problem. Fortunately, we have 1300 HP. But if you do guess wrong, which is likely to happen, it'll say maybe we should speak with the residents of Old Providence Town to try and figure out this code before we all get knocked out. Because I'm pretty sure you can get a game over from this. Of course, you can brute force, and you can stay at the end for free to keep healing if you want to. Let's crack the code. It is 5, 1, 3, 6, 4, 2. 2, duh, it's the only one left. The box unlocks and opens, revealing... what's inside? If you remember what Ventanis' sister had mentioned earlier, what Ventanis is scared of. Bats? Why did it have to be bats? Scream! And now we can move on. Ventanis, you can go search for him. You're not going to find him. Okay, let's blast through this cave. That way it's not an episode just on dialogue. The dangers that lurk in this basement cave can send the bravest of fighters to an early grave. Advance to new classes, win items, and save before fighting for the hammer that you crave. Each region gets harder in case you must flee from the spiders or zombies or vampires you'll see. At max level 10, manually switch to new class. When bigger and stronger, you'll surely kick ass. I put this signpost in here because some of my playtesters weren't talking to the NPCs to get tutorials, and were leveling up to level 10 and didn't know what to do, didn't know how to get any stronger. So I put this here as another attempt at a failsafe in terms of, if you click this, it'll say, look, at level 10, you can manually switch to a new class. You'll see here my HP is lowered by 100 because I got shocked or blasted or whatever by the chest. And it's time to actually do some battles that can win us some rewards. 45, 53. You take a good amount of damage, right? You're taking about 40, 50 damage each time. Devastation certainly helps in moments like these. 1 HP, of course. And so if I didn't have 1000 HP as a buffer, this could potentially be an annoying fight. It might have been worthwhile to maybe get up to level 5 or level 6 for everyone. Plus I've got weapons with everyone, which means I'm hitting harder too. These attacks, or these battles, will normally take a little bit longer if this is your first playthrough and you don't know where all the best strategies are in terms of getting fully equipped early on. Mini tonic. We've got more boots. I can kind of use my TP abilities pretty liberally right now. At level 7, I think it is, or maybe it's level 6. I get more skills, so I'm actually having new skills. Yeah, mini heal, accentuate. I can already heal my allies, and I haven't really needed to make much progress yet. So that's good in case you run out of mini tonics, or in case you don't want to waste an item. Besides trios of bats in this cave, in this first level, there's also a spider and scorpion battle. Maybe I can proc it this time? There we go. Cool. So devastation. Let's deal some damage. see, Nutrimancy is a pretty strong magic attack. It should do a little bit more than the normal, like, physical attack. 131 isn't bad. I can empower, or I can reinforce an ally of mine. Cool. I'll just keep moving through this because I don't need to spend that much time leveling up. I'm already pretty strong, and as long as I can level up my class, as long as I hit level 10 before the boss fight and level up, I should be in pretty good shape. I'll elaborate more on that when we get into level 3. This is level 2, or area 2. Once we get into area 3, I'll talk more about that. You'll see some skeletons and some zombies here. The 3 different types of battles in this region are 2 skeletons, which we have right here, or 2 zombies. Oh, so close. Or, at the very end of this region, in the bottom left, 2 and 2, 4 enemies, which can be annoying. I wanted to ramp up the difficulty reasonably, which you don't really see much here, because I'm fully equipped, but I think you'll feel a ramp up in difficulty if you don't have tons and tons of equipable items already. Here are the zombies. Let's finish off the zombie. Let's use redemption, why not? 416 because of the critical hit. Awesome. Leveling up very nicely. We're making our way to level 10. Getting any chests along the way. Obviously, you'll see where all the chests are. I do want to proc a fight down here, just to show that you can do a 4 vs 4. It can be annoying. Also, weapons. There are additional weapons here that have been dropped by the enemies that we were just killing. You can equip weapons, even without buying them from the shop. So assuming you didn't have all the gold I had, you should still have a weapon equipped before you fight the boss. I'm paralyzed. I'm double paralyzed. That can kind of suck. There's an example of paralysis working against me. Let's see if I can kill off one. Good, nice. Let's see what else I have. I don't need to heal anymore. Let's just start whacking away at one who's already a little bit weaker. Let's see if I can still attack. Nope, paralyzed. Paralysis has... I forget if I said it to be 50%. I forget what the exact percent chance is, but obviously there's a chance of you still hitting. It's not guaranteed to be paralyzed every single move. So there I was able to deal damage despite technically being paralyzed. It's a risk. Nope, that paralysis was holding. Let's see if Mero can finish him off. Good. As you can see here, paralysis can be annoying. Having immunity to paralysis would be nice. We're level 9, that's great. They all leveled up together, so they're all going to be fully healed. Just got a hatchet, which is another weapon I could use if I want to. Alright. Now we got some bats. Doesn't seem to be too bad. There's only 2 bats here, but as you can probably guess, there's a lot of space back here. So, as soon as I hit one down to low health, or kill them, 3 more will... I guess it's only 50%. Once I hit it below 50%, 3 more will appear. Now, normally, if you're strategizing, you probably wouldn't want to reveal all 8 at the same time. That would be kind of silly. They can hit you with a blind move. When you're blinded in battle, your accuracy lowers. You'll see like the darkness or the blind image will appear. If that ever actually happens. I think the chance is only like 5% or something. I wanted to make it pretty low because we are taking it. We are taking those hits like 6 at a time usually. It's a Nutrimancy. I wonder if I can one-shot someone. Cool, so you didn't have to waste an attack there. Let's one-shot him. Cool. Get one TP back there. Since Iraq doesn't hit that much right now, I can have him finish off a weakened enemy. Obviously, figuring out which enemy you should be hitting based on how much damage you can do, how much HP they have, can be pretty useful. So I want to use Devastation here on the off chance that I that Devastation does like a redundant hit that is not like fully optimized. I don't know if that'll work. Let's see what happens. So see, at the last move there, it hit an enemy who was already dead. That was intentional. That happened. That's part of the risk of using Marion's Devastation. It's random, which could include someone who is at 0 HP. Level 10 for everyone. That's fantastic. Everyone just got the move Bide, which automatically lets you gain 10 TP. Sometimes you're only 10 TP away, and you just want to be able to make sure you can use a move next turn, a specific TP move next turn. There are other moves, besides the TP special ability, that uses TP. Now the classes are opened. Now each one of these have the same stats on purpose. They'll level up the same in terms of stats. And it doesn't matter which one I'm going to choose first, because what I'm going to do in this specific walkthrough is I'm going to level up my first proficient tier class to level 2. And then I'll level up my second proficient tier class to level 2. That way I get 2 new skills right off the bat. You don't have to do it that way. Mini tonic obtained. Let's use Alacrity, just because. Just if we want to mess with some of the imps here, let's see what happens. Asleep, low luck, and poisoned. Low luck, low magic defense. Everything is wrong with this guy. And charmed, rage, paralysis, and shield, or low physical defense. So let's just keep hacking away at some of these guys. If they're already asleep, I'm not going to disturb them. If they're already confused, I'm not going to disturb them. If they're charmed, I'm not going to disturb them. Those are 3 different status ailments that they would no longer be, or no longer have those ailments, if I woke them up or hit them or dealt damage to them. Just finish everyone off here. Okay. I don't know if this will be enough for level 2. I might need 1 more. Okay. But I'm going to move down here. As soon as I move down below this row here, the imps disappear, and now we'll end up with a different type of enemy battle against a vampire and a succubus. The annoying part here, as you can see, is they regain HP every time they deal damage. But if we can knock them out pretty quickly, they won't necessarily have an opportunity to regain that health. Let's see if we can at least kill the succubus first. Nice. So it's going to gain some HP back. But that's okay, we can outlast it. If you're not in proficient tier class, you're going to have a tough time with these guys. The amount of damage you do probably won't be enough to kill them. They'll probably regain health faster than you can whittle them down. But there's level 2, so we're getting marching orders, which guarantees an escape at the expense of some TP, I believe. So if you're ever worried about the fact that escaping is only a 25% chance, which then increases each time, 25 if that fails, then 50 if that fails, then 75 if that fails, then 100% guaranteed. If you don't want to risk needing to attempt to escape 2 or 3 or 4 times, marching orders can immediately guarantee an escape. Go for the jugular, cast Silence, a pretty awesome move. Expose lowers magic defense, so now your magic attacks can do even more damage. And herd immunity cures poison. Mini tonics, mini magics, longbow. At this point, I'm actually going to switch classes. I'm going to switch to the other the other proficient tier class to gain 1 more skill before we attack the big boss. So we'll need 2 more battles against these vampires and succubi. You'll notice here that there's this like purple spiral, well, a spiral with a purple background, behind or next to each of the attack names. That implies that the magic they're using is dark magic, and based on the way our elemental types work, dark and light are weak against each other. Like if you see a dark attack, that means the enemy is a dark type enemy. And so you'd want to use a light type attack. I don't have it yet for Iraq, but I'm gonna get one from Iraq where I'm gonna get a light spell, Lumomancy, I believe it is, which will allow us to do incredible damage to dark enemies. And so dark and light, you should be attacking dark with light and light with dark, and the same goes with fire and water. There's that duality, as well as Ice and Thunder, as well as Earth and Wind. And all of this is outlined in the tutorials about the 8 magic types. So you can always check this out in your tutorials if you ever need to check again. The 8 elements: Fire and Water, Earth and Wind, Ice and Thunder, Light and Dark. They're strong against each other, so you should weaken one with the other. Tonic obtained. We're so close to level 2, we're going to do one more attack, because I want that Lumimancy and I want to get all my other skills as well. Marion. Let's just do... I just want to do regular attacks, because I want to have full TP for my boss battle, which is coming up right after this. So I'm not going to use, like, Sprig's Redemption to hit a lot of to the vampire. In fact, since normally my attack doesn't do that much damage and the vampire will just replenish that HP anyway, I'm going to accentuate Marrow. That way Marrow's magic attack will be even stronger and deal more damage to the vampire, because that plus 74 would have undone any damage that Arak would have done. Arak is poisoned, by the way. Now let's use Neutromancy. We'll do a little bit more damage than we have been doing. Okay, we could just kill him with a critical hit. Level 2, Bash. Stronger physical attack. It's not just a regular physical attack anymore. You can use some magic points to hit a harder than normal attack. Steal. Currently Marion is a chief thief, and you wouldn't be a thief without a steal ability. Whenever an enemy would normally drop a reward, like gold or loot of some sort, items, equipable items, gear, whatever, you can steal those same things from the enemy, and it's a duplicate. So what I mean by that is, if the enemy was going to drop, let's say, a mini tonic, you can steal a mini tonic from him, and then also still get the regular mini tonic. If the enemy was going to drop 50 gold, you can steal 50 gold during battle, and then after you eliminate the enemy, you'll still get 50 gold anyway. So you basically get double the rewards if you're willing to use steal. Umbermancy. Notice it's the same dark symbol. That does dark damage, so it's good in general, but it's especially good against light enemies. And Lumimancy, which is what I was really looking for here. It's good in general, but it's particularly good against dark enemies. And of course, with a name like Flesher, the boss is going to be dark imbued as well. It looks like the final room is up ahead, and I see a treasure chest in front of us, placed exactly where a really strong boss would lay a trap for its prey. Let's check out the suspicious chest. We should proceed with caution, and... Wait a minute, is that a gold statue? I wonder what would happen if we try to interact with that statue. Let's check out the gold statue, and then the suspicious chest. So, laying it on thick here, you should be checking out the gold statue. It replenishes your HP and MP, not your TP. It appears that interacting with this gold statue has restored our HP and MP. I'm totally feeling in tip-top shape. Let's check out that chest up ahead. I'm getting a bad feeling about this room. What do you mean? There are certainly plenty of bones around here. Wasn't there supposed to be a big scary monster with a hammer? I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Maybe we should fight a few more of those weaker baddies to get stronger. We could always head back to town and get more supplies too. Do you want to stay here in the basement cave, or head back to town right now, which would automatically avoid all enemy encounters? One thing that my playtesters seem to appreciate is that the gold statues at the end of dungeons, they have the option to warp you or exit you out of the dungeon. You don't have to backtrack all the way through if you don't want to. You can grind out a couple more levels or whatever. But if you're done with the dungeon, like mentally just done with it, you can totally just warp back for basically free. If you pick Go Straight to Town and actually choose to exit immediately here before you beat the boss, Marion makes a quip about, well, you're clearly not a speedrunner of some sort, so I'd recommend clicking something like that. But for now, we're just going to stay here in the basement cave, because we'll get the final battle done in this area. I'm just going to save the game here. So far, so good. And I don't think I need to do anything else besides start this battle. Muleta obtained. Wait a minute. Who are you? Alright, let's see what we can do. Well, that's not great. Marion is blinded right off the bat. Now, one thing I made sure of is each special TP ability, Redemption, Devastation, Alacrity, and Sindel, they all are certain to hit. So Marion's Devastation shouldn't be whipping like 4 times in a row because of low accuracy. It should be kind of immune to that. But let's get started with some redemption. Let's focus on attacking the Cerberus first, and then we'll take out the Flesher. The downside of Marion being blinded for now is that Stealing is likely to miss, but Devastation should still be okay. Okay, 2 and 2, not bad. Let's see what else I can do. I can cast Alacrity right off the bat. Maybe I can do a little bit of weird debuffs to these characters. They're immune to the regular status ailments for the most part, but the debuffs seem to also work here. Flesher's magic attacks will do less damage than normal, and Cerberus takes more physical damage now, which is great because Sprig's coming up, and Marion's coming up, although she might miss. That being said, I also know that both of these have been attacking with dark attacks, and they're both dark enemies, so I'm going to work on Lumamancy here. I could heal if I want to. I could accentuate myself and then use Lumamancy, or I could accentuate Marrow, but let's just do a good old-fashioned Lumamancy to see how we do here. Super effective. That's how we know we're hitting right. Here's the dark symbol. Here's the other dark symbol. So we know they're using dark attacks. Checking out the symbols here, the elemental symbols, will be super useful because they pretty much give away what type the enemy is. So if you see a fire symbol or a dark symbol or an ice symbol, you should have a general idea of what should counter that enemy. Alright, let's use Bash. Do a little bit more damage than normal, a strong attack. Not bad. This might just miss. We'll see what happens. Okay, that's because she's blinded, that's to be expected. Also poison. Poor Marion, huh? Alright, 1 down, 1 to go. By the way, I can use Citadel. Let's just use it now. I don't really have another reason to. So now you'll see Marion's status ailments will disappear. She's back to tip-top shape, as Mara would put it. And we can start whittling down the hit points. I'm going to empower Sprig, mainly because Bash does more damage than like Marion's regular attack. I can steal, which I might as well do now. I'm likely to hit 100 gold from Flesher. Now I'm going to get more gold after the victory, but I sold 100 gold for free. Well, at the expense of 10 TP and some MP as well. I'm going to see if I can startle Flesher also. I happened to miss. That's okay. Let's use Lumamancy again. Nice. Notice how it takes a while to whittle down this boss. I would have liked the physical defense to be lowered, because then with physical defense lowered on Flesher and physical attack increase on Sprig, that would have been kind of like a double buff situation. I could steal something else. I stole a Revive. Now, Revive, you're not really supposed to get until after you defeat Flesher. But now I can revive a character if they die. So now, physical defense is down. I'm going to keep using Lumamancy. The physical defense down won't help on Lumamancy because it's a magic attack, but Sprig will do even more damage now. So you can kind of stack buffs and debuffs to kind of have a desired effect. Now, I mentioned earlier how... I'll just go with attack. I mentioned earlier how when Flesher is below 25%, he uses that 4-armed Desperation, really strong attack. So I want to be a little careful here, because it can get annoying. I'm going to heal Marion. And I'm gonna, let's see, I'm out of HP. I'm sorry, I'm out of MP. So I'm going to spend some mini-magics, because look how many mini-tonics and mini-magics I have. Right? I don't mind using them early on. The item drop rate is pretty high, and that's on purpose. So I'm going to replenish some magic. I've got time. I'm going to wait until after Flesher goes again. Let's do another mini-magic on Marrow. And as far as Iraq's concerned, it doesn't really matter. I'll use Accentuate on himself. That way Lumamancy will do extra damage. Pulverize. It could cause paralysis, although I'm not sure if he's immune to paralysis because of his Falchion. I'd have to recheck to see what he's immune to. Alright, let's start doing some damage now. Bash does good work. Just a regular attack is fine. I want to experience... Well, I don't know if I'll end up experiencing 4-arm Desperation. I might end up killing him off here, actually, because I'm magically... There we go. Because of the boost to magic attack, I didn't have to experience his Forearm Desperation, which would take some big chunks out of my HP. And again, keep in mind, I have 1,000 more HP with each character than most players would, because they all have mini amulets, or HP mini amulets on. Double Swing, I gain 2 levels here. Remember, you gain more skills at level 4 with Proficient here. Double Swing, 2 attacks. Galvanize, increasing agility. Quid Pro Quo for both Marrow and Iraq. Quid Pro Quo is if you want to sacrifice some HP to replenish some MP and TP. It's kind of like an alchemy trade-off. Mini Tonic all 3, Revive 3. We were going to get 3 revives anyway, but we did steal another one. And we have the Mini Tonic alls replenish the 1,000 HP to all characters, which is nice. And now we've got a little bit of a cutscene. This cutscene is very short, but it will increase as you progress through the first part of the game. It'll keep adding on to the cutscene to make it longer and give you more information. You need to go again? Already? But you just got home from your last trip. Do you really have to leave so soon? Yes, I do. But Mom... Marion, that's enough. How many times do I need to hammer it into you? There will be a reference to hammer in each of these little cutscene pieces, as well as any new key items we end up gathering. After the hammer, we'll get a whole bunch of others. And I purposely have the dialogues and the maps giving references to everything. It was just an interesting challenge on my part to do. So that was Marion's very short cutscene. Hi, Iraq, how was your... You got me flowers. Roses, lilies, and hammer orchids. My favorites. Hammer's down here. Something's about to happen in here, but I guess we'll have to wait till next time to find that out. And here's Sprig checking out some of the armory. This is another room in the castle, which you can access, but there's just nothing going on there during the actual game for now. Good afternoon, Sprig. Good afternoon, Your Majesty. What brings you into the armory? You'll learn more about that next time. So the final thing I'm going to do here is, well, I'm going to exit back to the beginning of this, go straight to town. I always have a failsafe, like, double check that you actually did want to go back to town, because obviously if you're moving fast, you might accidentally click the wrong option. I don't want you to automatically warp back to town and, oh my gosh, I forgot to save, and I have to run through the entire dungeon again. Arik is right, at least we got ourselves a hex hammer. So this dungeon is done. Old Providence Town, for now, is done. I'm going to... Oh, did I click on the signpost? I don't remember. In Old Providence Town, the people are rosy. They prefer a suburb that is quiet and cozy. Life-threatening dangers are nowhere to be found, unless someone wishes to dig underground. Some heroes who are actively seeking glamour may speak to the townsfolk and study their grammar. When the treasure unlocked is a mystical hammer, being bouldered with boulders will cause quite a clamor. Because that is what we'll be doing next. We'll be breaking down some boulders, thanks to having our hex hammer. But the last thing I want to do is to just get a couple more gear. A little bit more gear. What else do I need? I think I have one of these. Let's just buy... Doesn't really matter. Let's go with 3 more of these. And do I have a kite shield for everyone? I think I need 1 more shield. Let's just do that. I'm not too concerned about the money aspect. Let's go to equip. Let's see what happens. If you click optimize, it'll fill any empty slots if it can be filled, but sometimes it'll change gear that you purposely set up into other gear. So you might have to go back and change a weapon or something. If I click optimize here, nothing happens because the 4 slots that I could have access to are already filled. If I switch to Marion, I'm just pressing the page down button. If I'm switching to Marion, I'll optimize here. I've got kite shield and bolstered armor. So now it's very similar to Sprig. If I click optimize here, I'm pretty sure I'll get the bolstered armor, but I'm also pretty sure the spellbound cane will switch to something else. And then same thing with Iraq. If this is something you care about, in terms of, well, Rusty Knife does more physical damage than magic damage, and if you care more about magic, you can figure out how you want to re-equip. Maybe you want the Spellbound Cane. Or maybe you want to make sure you're immune to a certain status ailment. Maybe you're fighting some guys who keep casting blindness, and you just want to make sure you're immune. That wouldn't have been so bad against the imps or against the Flesher and Cerberus for that matter. Immune to silence, that's also useful. I think that is mostly it. Yeah, I'm just going to head out this way, and I'm going to save underneath these boulders, because next episode we're going to start exactly here by breaking down these two boulders. I am going to save the game, and that is the end of episode 2. Next up, we will break down the boulders, the 8 boulders. We have to go back and figure out where those boulders were. And we'll cross the bridge and see what happens next. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more clips about Mango Mischief, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. The Steam link for my game, as well as all Mango Mischief social media links, are posted in this video's description. I think you'll enjoy my satirical, retro-style, turn-based JRPG, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section below. Thanks!